So the National Lottery Commission Board is opposing a court bid brought by a bidder, Newzroom, to stop the awarding of temporary operating license. The current license held by Ituba is expected to expire at the end of next month. National Lottery Commission Board Chair Professor Bani Pityana joins us now for more. Prof, a good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us. This is quite a high...
Good evening, Naledi.
Absolutely, we appreciate your time. This is quite a high-stakes conversation here because we're talking about a multi-billion rand tender to run the lottery. So I want to start with, firstly, perhaps you bringing us up to speed as to why we're at a point where we are discussing the 12-month temporary license and not letting the bidders have a shot at the tender.
The reason we are where we are, Naledi, is that the request for proposals was issued for the 4th license to operate the National Lottery, because the current license actually expires on the 31st of May. The minister, having been through all the processes, the board had been through all the processes and submitted it as its advisory to the minister. The minister felt unable to make the decision before the matter receives further scrutiny. So because the minister delayed making the decision on the proposals that were given to him by the adjudication board, adjudication committee, meant that the result of that was that there would be no body to take over the lottery on the 1st of June, the day after the current license expires. It is for that reason that the board then recommended to the minister that a temporary license be executed in order to make sure that there is no gap in the provision of National Lottery services, and therefore no gap in the provision of the contributions to the National Lottery Distribution Trust Fund. That is the matter at issue, because it starts with the minister not having been able to make a decision, which the Act requires him to be the one who makes it, because he wanted, the minister that is, wanted to make sure that the matter undergoes further scrutiny. That is the reason where we are.
Yeah, and perhaps the issue of the scrutiny, if we could look at that in a little bit more detail. So you've got the structures that you are vying for this opportunity to run the lottery. One of them, the Ringela Consortium, half owned by ANC benefactor Batho Trust, which was allegedly founded by ANC leaders in 1992, so that being an issue, and I want to get your thoughts on that. And then you've got Newzroom, which has essentially taken this application to the courts to try and get this extension of a 12-month tender to be halted. They owned by HCI and also linked to a union affiliate. So talk to me about why there would be concerns around those two bidders, Prof.
To be truthful, I'm not aware what exactly it is that the minister is concerned about. Because the minister, all those matters were thoroughly examined by the adjudication committee, and indeed before that by the evaluation committee. And the recommendations were still made. The minister felt, however, as it is his right to do, that he needed to satisfy himself that all the issues that the Act requires him to ensure are covered. And that is the reason that the minister delayed the decision in the manner in which he did, which, according to the Act, he is entitled to do, by the way. And then I'm not at freedom to actually say which are the particular applicants. There were 8 applicants for the National Lottery that were considered, And out of those 8, there were preferred bidders. There's no bidder who was presented by the adjudication committee as the winner, if you like, to the minister. But the minister was presented with an array of possibilities and preferred bidders that the minister then had to make up his own mind in terms of which one was the appropriate, in terms of the facts that were put before him. He felt that the facts that were before him did not really cover all the issues, and he needed further scrutiny to satisfy himself that was correct. So I'm not at liberty to talk about whether Ringeta or Winanjalo where they stand in this matter, because that really is a matter that will be disclosed in total when the minister finally makes his decision.
Yeah.
But the minister has now told Winanjalo that he will be ready to make a decision by the 28th of May. So in many respects, the matter before the court is to some degree moot. And the minister has responded to say, 28th of May, he will be ready to make the decision. And the matter, therefore, the urgency of the matter has been sucked out of it in effect.
Yeah. You know, Prof, before I let you go, obviously there is much interest in what happens within the lottery, especially when you think about just how many organizations lean on money and certainly resources that they're able to get from the lottery. So talk to us about the importance, if you will, of having a bidder or a service provider there who was able to assist in the running of things, and what is at jeopardy if that contract is not there.
The public policy issue that drives the national lottery, as far as the government of the Republic of South Africa is concerned, is the ability of the operator of the national lottery to make valid contributions to the National Lotteries Distribution Trust Fund. And the contributions to the National Lotteries Distribution Trust Fund are then distributed to worthy good causes. And last year, 1.9 billion rand was made available to the applicants, who non-profit organizations, community bodies, other people who are really doing some fantastic work in developing their communities, that they receive the support of the National Lottery out of that 1.9 billion rand. So the board didn't feel comfortable to find itself in a situation where no more contributions were available to the National Distribution Trust Fund, even though the board has made provision for contingency purposes to make funds available, but the board can never, that fund can never be available without end. So it is very, very, very important for public policy purposes that fund is actually supported by the contributions to the National Lotteries Distribution Trust Fund. That is the reason that the board advised the minister to have a temporary license in order to make sure that there is not a major break between the current operator and the possibility of making funds available to the National Lotteries Distribution Trust Fund.
Yeah. Prof. Jana, we'll be watching what happens next very, very closely, and we certainly do appreciate your time on this day.